you're civil engineering. So what does that mean? What are you practically doing, like on the ground in Southeast Asia?
Southeast Asia. It sounds a little weird, but going into college, what I wanted to do doesn't exist yet. Um, because climate change's effects aren't aren't super prevalent right now. They will be in a decade. They will be in a few years. Um, it's like, but like, yeah, going into college, what I wanted to do is like climate adaptation of infrastructure, which I'll explain in a bit. Those jobs didn't exist a few years ago. Now they exist. I'm applying to half a dozen internships in that stuff. And as the years progress, the type of jobs that I'm gearing my curriculum towards will start to exist. So it's weird. Um,
So were you planning for a future? So you're planning for a future that doesn't exist,
yes.
right? Or doesn't exist in your current were you getting doubt from that? Were your parents telling you that's stupid or
I didn't really tell my
yeah.
parents. They knew civil engineering was a good path just because there's a lot of jobs in there. And
Okay.
Illinois is one of the best, has one of the best civil programs in the nation. So
Okay,
they're like
amazing.
okay with that.
So you're back in
Yeah.
Southeast or you're in Southeast Asia and you're boots on the ground. What are you doing?
What I want to do is being able to engineer new solutions to climate problems. So, like in Southeast Asia, they're being affected with rising sea levels. So they'll either have to build new communities on the water or be able to migrate elsewhere. So a lot of infrastructure is needed in that regard, whether that's building roadways for mass migration inland or like building communities on the sea. And then along with that, a lot of so civil engineering super broad discipline. One of the sectors of civil engineering is like wastewater treatment and water resources engineering,
The poop
which
water.
I'm interested in. So poop water, yep.
Okay.
So being able to build new communities that can sustain themselves with wastewater treatment, getting fresh water, getting rid of wastewater, all that is super important. So like that job doesn't exist yet. I'm very confident that it will within a decade or so, though.
That's fascinating. How so you're confident that we're going into a global, like there's going to be significant climate change happening within the next few decades that's going to alter all of our infrastructure.
Not necessarily all of our infrastructure in terms of like the United States, because geographically speaking, the US isn't as susceptible right now to climate change's impacts as like islands who are
Mhm.
facing rising sea levels or super arid regions like sub-Saharan Africa that are facing major droughts, or like even California with record wildfires and all that.
Interesting. Um, so how how would you successfully migrate a city that is being undertaken by water to a new place? Like if you have 3 million citizens that are living in a susceptible region where they're, less than 10 feet above sea level, how are you going to get them to a place where they don't go underwater?
Mhm. That's more of a long-term approach. Some cities like Boston and LA and New York are looking at those issues right now, that in a few decades the sea level is going to be, or like rising sea levels are going to be a major issue for them. So one simple solution that a lot of those cities are doing right now is just building seawalls high enough so that water doesn't come over. That's not a permanent solution because you'll need to keep building them high, and um, with worse storms and hurricanes and all that, like those seawalls could break, and then you're stuck with
It'd be done.
millions of gallons of water pouring over the seawalls into the city. So I don't really know what a long-term solution of how to migrate those people are, whether it's building more communities inland or adapting the infrastructure somehow. I don't know.